Good morning. Welcome to another KCC Devotional. Today I want us to look at Hebrews chapter 11 and we're going to read from verse 8 through to 10. By faith, Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to the place which he would receive as an inheritance. And he went out not knowing where he was going. By faith he dwelt in the land of promise, as in a foreign country, dwelling in tents with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he waited for the city which has foundations, whose builder and maker is God. And I want us to think about this journey of faith that Abraham went on all those years ago. It says that by faith he obeyed when he was called to go out to the place which he would receive as an inheritance. Just pause for a moment and think about the fact that Abraham was 75 years old when God called him to leave everything he knew, leave all his security, leave his life, 75 years of life, of friendships, relationships, things he'd built up during that time. You know, he was certainly in the autumn years of his life, wasn't he? And yet, God called him out of it, called him to leave it all behind and to go on a journey. What's more, he says, and he went out not knowing where he was going. Can you imagine that? Leaving behind all of that, all of the security, everything you've ever known for 75 years, and going out on a journey that you don't know exactly where you're going. You don't know exactly what awaits you. You don't know that all the twists and the turns on that journey. However, every step is a step of obedience and faith. Well, this is written here so it might encourage us, as it encourages those first readers, that we're on that journey. We've left behind everything we knew when Christ called us into this grace, into this salvation. He called us on a journey. And every step that we take, we've got to trust him. There are so many twists and turns in this life. You know this. Very often unexpected things that are difficult to understand. You know, sometimes there are issues, there are trials, there are tribulations, things that come out of the blue that we never expected. There are other times of great rejoicing and victory and joy. There are ups and downs, the truth be told. Yet every step needs to be a step of obedience and faith. What else does it say? It says in verse 9, by faith he dwelt in the land of promise as in a foreign country, dwelling in tents with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. Even when he came into the place that God was going to give him, he dwelt as a nomad, as a sojourner, someone who was traveling, just passing through. And he was trusting that God would be faithful to him just as he'd been faithful to God. And friends, that's our journey too. We are called to trust God. We're called, as we move through this life, we know we're here temporarily. We know that everything that we have, everything we build up in this life is temporary. It all passes away. And so, in a sense, we are dwelling in this land in tents. Just as Abraham, Isaac and Jacob were dwelling in tents, looking beyond that particular land, looking to the inheritance that they would receive. What does it say? It says, for he waited for the city which has foundations, whose builder and maker is God. And I want to suggest to you this morning that he could see beyond that particular land. He could see right to the promise of God. I believe he was speaking about the new Jerusalem that he would one day inherit, ultimately inherit. And friends, that promise exists for us too. We've been called to journey by faith and obedience, knowing that you know, we're not just wandering around aimlessly. There is a goal. There is an aim. We don't see it yet. But just as Abraham in his heart anticipated it, then so should we. So let me encourage you today, no matter what you're facing, no matter what you're going through, no matter how life is at the moment, there's a goal. Keep walking by faith and obedience, trusting that God knows the way. He knows where you're going. He knows how to get you there. So God bless you. Have a wonderful day.